Hello, today you will hear a truly intriguing story from the movie The Well. Enjoy the viewing and be sure to watch until the end, because what the main heroine does will really surprise you. The year is 1993. A young American woman named Lisa sets off for a small Italian commune called Sambuci, whose population doesn't even exceed 1,000 people. On her way, she encounters a group of biologists, Tracy, Madison, and Tony. During the journey, we learn that Lisa works as a painting restorer and received a good commission in Sambuci, which made her decide to travel there all the way from Philadelphia. Interestingly enough, they all need to go to Sambuci, but they have to part ways at the sign. Lisa heads to a hotel while the group of biologists goes to the forest, believing that camping in tents will increase their chances of capturing a good shot. In the morning, Lisa waits for a bus, but a local guy named Marcus tells her there won't be one today and offers to help. She agrees and asks him to escort her to the Malvisi mansion. Along the way, Marcus gives her a mini tour, revealing that he owns a pub across from the mansion, so they'll easily have a chance to see each other again. The girl bids farewell and heads inside, where she is warmly welcomed by the hostess, Malvisi, who is excited that the daughter of the great Maestro Gray has arrived to restore her painting. The hostess explains that there was recently a fireplace fire, which is why the painting now looks the way it does. The artwork belongs to Arcano, a 15th century artist known for his method of depicting the unknown. The painting must be restored within 2 weeks because it will be auctioned for an enormous amount of money. Lisa immediately gets to work, starting to restore it piece by piece, but at one point, she hears sweet singing. On the roof, she finds a little girl performing the melody, but the child quickly runs away. That night, the biologist Tony sets up a microphone on a tree to record the sounds of the nighttime wildlife. But as he falls asleep to these sounds in his tent, strange scraping noises are heard. Tony goes to check his equipment, but soon afterward, screams echo from the forest, waking Madison. She rushes out to search for Tony, but upon returning, she urges Tracy to call the police, saying something terrible has happened to Tony. Suddenly, Madison is grabbed, and Tracy is knocked out with a blunt strike. They all wake up behind bars, unable to understand where they are. Nearby, an unknown person is seen vomiting into a bucket. Meanwhile, Lisa has already received her first compliment from the hostess. Malvisi admits that she initially doubted Lisa's abilities after learning her father couldn't come, but now her doubts have vanished, and she's impressed with Lisa's excellent work. Malvisi invites the young artist to dinner, where she will have the chance to meet her daughter. However, Lisa mentions the strange events from earlier, and the hostess asks her to wait, explaining that her daughter is shy around new people, which is completely normal. During dinner, the attempt to start a conversation with the girl fails again, and then the Duchess admits that her daughter has a personality disorder, which is why she took her out of school. Therefore, more patience is needed to get to know her. Meanwhile, we are taken back to the imprisoned biologists, where a crazed fat man arrives, fills his cup with blood from a well in the middle of the room, and when he notices the panicking Tony, he quickly rushes to his cell, endures the boy's punches, and then responds in kind by striking Tony's back with a machete. Without hesitation, he throws Tony down the well. Lisa has already begun restoring the faces of the characters in the painting, and when she noticed a stain on the monster's face, she tried to scrape it off, accidentally cutting her finger. When she removed her glove, blood gushed directly onto the painting. However, she didn't give up and continued restoring the artwork even through the night. But when lightning flashed, the lights in the mansion went out, and a man entered the room, her father. He told her she shouldn't have trusted anyone and immediately slit his throat, but then vanished as quickly as he appeared. Back to Madison, the girl tried to talk to the guy in the neighboring cell. He explained that he was trying to pry open the grate in the floor to escape, but his tool broke. Madison tossed him a knife to at least improve his chances of survival. That night, an unknown figure approached Lisa and lay down beside her, only to suddenly begin strangling her with all his strength. But to her surprise, it was just a nightmare. However, the person from her dream looked exactly like one of the characters from the painting. Unexpectedly, Julia appeared in her room and told Lisa to run. The person in her dream was named Dorca, a witch. The painting is cursed, and if Lisa restores it, She will become Dorca's victim and doom herself to a terrible curse for the rest of her life. Stressed out by this, Lisa decides to relax at Marcus's pub. But the guy asks her to calm down, believing that the dreams she's having are probably due to overexertion. Meanwhile, the real horrors continue for the girls. The killer returns to the room, and we see that something terrible fills his bucket directly from his veins. This time, he chooses the boy as his victim, but Madison decides to save him and sacrifices herself. She endures horrific torture, including having her skin torn off and losing an eye. Afterward, the man throws her down the well, where we see a horrifying creature that immediately begins to feast. Lisa still tries to build a connection with Julia, who watches the happy couple in tears. But Lisa is confident that Julia will soon find similar happiness. Only the girl blames her mother for everything. Her mother suddenly appears and asks Lisa to follow her. The mother explains that she forbids her daughter from dating much older men, yet those are the ones Julia always chooses. Moreover, her stories are very disturbing, so they definitely shouldn't be believed. What Lisa should focus on instead is her work, as failing to finish on time would mean losing her payment. That night, Lisa has another nightmare where Tracy appears along with a half-alive Tony. In the middle of the night, Lisa rushes to Marcus for support. She admits that she's forced to endure these nightmares because her father's workshop won't survive the financial loss if she abandons her work. Eventually, she returns to the mansion and, after taking some pills, encounters a blood-soaked Madison in the bathroom. When she runs away in fear, she collides with the mistress of the house, who accuses her of being on drugs. The mistress urges her to finish the job quickly and not even think about running away. Meanwhile, the guy in the cell finally manages to open the hatch, but it turns out to be a passage directly to the horrifying creature, which begins devouring his face while Tracy starts to lose her sanity. By the way, Malvisi is sipping wine while Dorca quietly watches her. That same evening, Julia bursts into Lisa's room, begging her to stop immediately, as we finally learn the whole story. In 1493, her mother and Dorca sacrificed a boy named Billy to obtain Gorin and, using his blood, gain immortality. If tonight the moon shines its light on the painting, the curse will be extended for another 500 years. Lisa tells the girl to stop her nonsense and leave, but when Julia reveals that the last 3 victims were the biologists, Lisa immediately realizes what's going on. Julia asks her to follow her, and in the basement, they stumble upon the same killer. However, Julia's mother suddenly calls her away, forcing Lisa to continue alone. Grabbing a weapon, she heads downstairs, barely avoiding the crazed man's gaze. When he finally approaches Tracy, she strikes him and tries to escape, but fails. For that, he burns her cheek with his blade and attempts to feed her to Gorin. Lisa intervenes just in time, saving Tracy, and they hurry upstairs, but Tracy painfully steps on a nail. Meanwhile, the man downstairs notices that one of the victims has already been eaten, and Gorin, driven by hunger, immediately begins feeding. The girls run outside and encounter Marcus, who promptly ends Tracy's life with his crossbow and forces Lisa back to the room with the painting. There, the entire family is already waiting and demands that Lisa finish restoring the painting, or they will kill her. Julia suddenly walks in, unexpectedly threatening to set the painting on fire. Her mother orders Marcus to kill her, and Lisa instantly douses him with solvent. Malvisi then grabs the crossbow and wounds Lisa just as the moonlight shines in, causing the entire family to writhe in agony. She had been trapped in a child's body for over 500 years. As Lisa prepares to leave, Gorin appears, forcing her to lock herself in and clean the painting to read part of the incantation right in front of him. Suddenly, we jump 30 years into the future. And this part genuinely surprised me. Lisa turned out to be completely healthy, and her secretary informs her they've received a commission from the Prime Minister and his wife. Lisa heads down to the basement of her mansion, where the area around the infamous well has been transformed into a laboratory. We see that the woman has created her own production of capsules containing immortality for the next 500 years. So, what did you think of this recap? Did you enjoy it? If so, leave a like and subscribe. But if not, please let me know what didn't work so I can improve. Thank you so much for watching.